Hi, my name is Zulfathi bin Zaki, and I'm going to present question number 1. So in question number 1, we need to create a simple calculator which satisfy the three conditions, which is the first one, the input for the first number must be an even number and only consists between 10 to 30 of integer. And the second one, the operator must limit to plus and minus operation only, and the last one is the second input must be also an even number. So let's move on to the flowchart. After we start the program, we need to declare the variables and then prompt and get the input number 1 and number 2, and then we straight to the first condition that we need to satisfy. The first loop with condition number 1 and number 2 must be an even number. Number 1 must be in between 10 and 30 only. So if it doesn't satisfy the condition, it will fall back to prompt and get the input all over again, and if it's true, it will move on to the operation. So the user must then choose the operation which is plus and minus. So if the user enter the wrong input, it will display an error and go back to prompt and get the number all over again. So let's say the user choose plus symbol. The algorithm will calculate the number and display the answer, and then the user must choose if they want to do another calculation or not. So if they want to, they will need to enter y and go back all over again from the start, and if they choose no, they will exit the program immediately. And if they put invalid input, it will display an error and go back to get the y and n all over again. So let's try. Okay, so we put on 22 to satisfy the condition and 24. So we choose minus, the algorithm calculate it, and then total is negative 2. So let's put invalid input. It will show wrong input, and we need to do it again. So let's put all over again. 24 plus, so we choose n and exit it immediately. So that's all for
Assalamualaikum, I am Amalia Aliah with ID 180023887, and I will present the solution for the problem number 2. This problem requires us to find the frequency of each digit in a given integer. We need to ask the user to input a number, and the program will count the frequency of each digit in the number. The digit must be from 0 to 9. Now, we will proceed with the flowchart. First, we need to start the program and declare the variables. Then, we proceed with the first loop with condition I less than 10. If I satisfy the condition, then we move on to the next loop. If not, we need to end the program. After that, in the second loop, the condition is j more than 0. If yes, the user will proceed with the calculation k equals to j modulo 10. If not, the program will continue by adding 1 to the variable I and start the loop again until the condition is not satisfied. The loop will proceed with the next condition, which is k equals to I. Then the count will be added with 1, and the program will display the value of I and the count. We move to calculate j equals to j divided by 10. So this program has two types of loop. The outer loop is to display the input, while the inner loop is to do the calculation. So for example, 2043, we need to check the condition which is true because I is 0 less than 10. We have to check for the j is equal to number. The condition is true. And then we will proceed with the calculation k equals to j modulo 10. Then 2043 modulo 10 is equal to 3. The condition is false. And then we proceed with the calculation for j equals to j divided by 10, which is 2043 divided by 10 is 204, as j is an integer. Then 204 divided by 10 is equals to 20. 20 modulo 10 is equals to 0. True. Then we proceed with the count. Plus 1 equals to 1. So the frequency of 0 is 1. So in 2043, there is 1 0. The loop will continue until all the digit is calculated. Let's see how this program will run. Let's put the sample number, which is 1 2 2 3 4 5. So here is the output for this program.
Assalamualaikum and good evening. My name is Ahmad Haziq and I'm going to present question 3. Question 3, it is asked to create a program in order to determine of how much of an area to leave uncut so that the harvested area is reforested in a certain period of time. It's assumed that the reforestation takes place at a known rate per year, depending on the climate and soil condition. The reforestation equation expresses this growth as a function of the amount of timber standing at the reforestation rate. And it is assumed that the area has a total of 14,000 acres with 2,500 acres uncut and a reforestation rate of 0.02. The program also needs to print a table showing the number of acres forested at the end of each year for a total of 20 years. And let's look at the flowchart. For the flowchart, first we have to declare the variable, which is rate, re-area and year. And then we have to initialize rate as 0.02, re-area as 2,500 and year as 1. And then we go into the calculation. Calculation for the re-area is equals to re-area plus re-area times rate. And then we have to print the data for year and re-area. And then the counter, which is year, is equals to year plus 1. Then we have to check the condition for the loop, which is year is equals to less than or equals to 20. If it's a yes, and then the program will go back to the calculation, and the process will repeat for 20 times, which is until year is more than 20, and then the statement will produce a no, and the program will end. Let's look at the coding. For the coding, the variable rate and re-area is assigned as a double, and the year is an integer, and the area is initialized to 2,500 and the rate is 0.02. We have to see out first year, the sentence year, and the sentence of reforested area in acres, and then we go to the loop, which is year is assigned to 1, and the condition is year less than or equals to 20, and then the counter year is plus. This is the calculation. Re-area is equals to re-area plus re-area times rate, and then we have to display the value of year and then the re-area, and the process will continue for 20 times until the condition is false and the program will end. So let's look at the program. And this is how the program will look like. For this question, the data is already assigned, so we don't have to from and get from a user. And that's all from me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Zulfakri bin Ruslan with ID number 18002384. So I'm answering the question number 4. So the question is, design a program that calculates how much money you will end up with if you invest an amount of money at a fixed interest rate compounded yearly. Have the user furnish the initial amount, the number of years and the yearly interest rate in %. So some interaction with the program might look like this. Alright. So basically this question asks us to total up the interest that he will receive once he invests a certain amount of money at the first year, right? So we have to total up the interest that he will receive with the initial amount. So at the end of the years that he has entered, we need to come out with the total amount that he has received, right? So to make it clear, this is the flowchart for the program. So first we have to declare the amount, years, rate and total, and we need to prompt and get the amount, years and rate. And since we are going to use the for loop, we need to have the three condition, which is we need to initialize, we need to have the counter, and we need to have a condition. Alright, so we have to initialize I equal to 0, and we have the counter I plus plus, and the condition is I less than years. Right, so it will get into this loop as long as I is less than years. Alright, so I will be plus by once every single time it gets into this loop. So this is the calculation that will be used in the loop, which is total equal to total plus total times by rate. Alright, so if it does not meet with this condition, which is when the I is more than the years, it will display the total. Alright, so this is the program for the question. First we need to declare which is for the variable amount and years, the data type is integer, and for the variable rate and total, the data type is float. And then we have to prompt and get the amount, years and rate, and we have for the rate we have to divide by 100, right? And as for the loop, since we're going to use the for loop, this is the three conditions. First we need to put it after the for. So the first condition is we need to initialize, we need to have the condition, and we need to have the counter. And this is the calculation. So every single time it passes through this loop, the total here will be a new total. Alright, so as long as I is less than years, it will pass through this loop and it will have a new total. So after the I is more than years, I is more than number of years, it will display the total at the end of the years. So we are going to try to run this program. And okay, first we are going to input the initial amount 3000 and the number of years, which is 10, and the interest rate is 5.5%. So at the end of 10 years you will have $5,124.43. That's all from me. Thank you.